Mr. Secretary, you know that Pensacola is a Navy town, and I want to thank you for coming and spending time at our Naval Museum. In so many of these hearings, I focus on the things that I'm concerned about as downward pressure on our recruiting, but in my time with you, I'd like to focus on something that is a really positive thing that can drive recruiting. So many of these naval aviators I meet in my district, they were inspired by Top Gun, or they went to a Blue Angels air show, and they got that spark in them that got them to take that extra engineering class or physics class or aviation opportunity. And this museum that you've been to is a gem. We have recovered aircraft out of the depths of Lake Michigan. We put on displays about the greatest moments of heroism in our military. And my challenge right now is I think, the best naval museum in the world, and I'm having a hard time getting people to it because the way my base is configured, our base is configured, folks are not able to have ingress and egress. And I know it sounds like a real small problem from a real small part of the country, but what I think is if we could have leadership and focus from your office and others, and we could get hundreds of thousands of people back onto the base, back into that museum, it's not going to solve all of our recruiting challenges, but it's one more spark that we can have out there getting folks excited in a positive, productive way. Will you work with me on that so I can get better access to this great gem?
Congressman, I've been working with you and your staff and local politicians and the leadership of that museum actually to try to get the throughput through that museum open as quickly as possible. We've come up with some near-term solutions, but we're also focused on finding the long-term solutions that actually bring it back to maximum throughput for that museum for all the reasons that you just stated, because it is an extraordinary museum.
So where I at times struggle with folks is seeing the museum not just as a morale and welfare tool, but as a recruiting tool. Do you see it as a recruiting tool?
I absolutely see it as a recruiting tool. I saw it from the first day that I stepped in it. And we have actually been very energized. And we've come up with some near-term solutions to increase the throughput that are already paid off dividends, but we're also looking at the long-term solutions that are a little bit more costly to be able to provide a direct access to the outside world without having to have folks come in through the base itself.
Well, thank you for casting it in that lens, because if it's a matter of dollars and cents, and I have to ask my colleagues to support such an endeavor in the NDAA, I'll certainly cite your testimony that this isn't just a museum for the sake of recreation, but it is a way to engage people in naval aviation in a place that's the home of the Blue Angels, the cradle of naval aviation.
Absolutely so.